I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. Like a doll's eyes.
I love this town!
Hello, city!
Hello and welcome to City of Geek Podcast, episode 4. Try number 2, since our last episode was lost due to audio issues.
4.5.
4.5 something. It'll come up as just 4 on iTunes or whatever. We are listed now on iTunes, which is great. Yay! And if you're coming to us from iTunes or SoundCloud or any sort of podcast without coming from our website or from Facebook, welcome. You can find us at cityofgeek.com. Same thing on the Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. It's all the same name, City of Geek. But just go to the Facebook and everything that we posted there anyway. There's extra stuff they'll put up there that we don't put on the website. We've actually had a little uptick on the website recently, which is great. Yay!
Yeah. Did you say our prospect review got 100 views?
100 views,
Woo,
yes.
woo.
And Kim saw prospect today.
I did. It was fantastic. If you have the chance to see it in theaters, I do recommend going to see it in theaters.
It was a 1-week run at most Regals, but I know the Regal here in Seattle is extending it for another week now. Now that the schedule has gone up on Tuesday night for the rest of the week. Because it's Tuesday, we're recording on the 13th. We're hopefully publishing on the 15th. And then if you live in Seattle, on December 6th, there will be a showing of Prospect with the directors. They're doing a Q&A. It's like they've been doing at a couple of the Regal showings around here as well.
Oh yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. Filmed up here in the Pacific Northwest because we are Seattle-based, with a bunch of Seattle crew, friends of ours, some people that we know, and then several actors that you know from other things. Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones, who recently was cast in a new Mandalorian television show for Star Wars. So that's pretty cool. Topic today is our feel bad movies. You know, the movies that when they finish, you want to take a long shower or go kill someone or burn down a house, right?
Made me think of a new movie.
Bob, I didn't know you hated The Grinch that much.
But before we get to those movies, I thought we'd go through a little bit of news, a little mini reviews, and maybe a little bit of trailers we watched recently. Before we get into the topic at hand. So right now, we are a geek website, podcast, etc. So the main thing that we've been talking about, everyone's talking about, is unfortunately Stan Lee passed away yesterday, at the age of 95.
Now, I will say this. Somebody posted on Facebook, such a sad and shocking death. I'm like, there's nothing shocking about a 95-year-old man dying. Sad? Okay, yeah.
The sadness that anyone dying was, I would definitely say he lived a long life, did lots of amazing things.
Yeah, dude was mid-90s. I mean, he outlived everyone. Jack Kirby. He outlived like everybody from the early Marvel days and became a pop culture icon.
Well, and even when I found out the news, I was driving with my folks back from Portland, and I was like, oh, Stan Lee died. That's really sad. And my mom was like, oh, yeah, how old was he? I was like, well, 95. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, I'm super bummed about it. But I don't think anyone can look at his life and be like, he was taken. It feels like he was taken too soon, but he was 95.
Yeah, he's been kind of
sick,
withdrawing.
And his wife died.
Late last year.
And
they were married for
70-something years.
My God. Like...
They met, and 2 weeks later they got married.
Which is adorable.
Have either of you seen the memes, though, that have Thanos Tim?
I've seen him dusted or
that's fucked up.
Putting down the pencil, which is...
But it's fucked up.
Yeah.
There's a couple touching ones, though.
The one I saw was really touching.
Yeah, I saw one of being Thanos, but he was like, realized what was happening, so he put down the pencil, and there's a little thing about creators, and that was really, really nice.
That was really sweet.
And
you guys got a nice one. I just got a picture of him like half Thanos.
Oh, okay. See, that would upset me.
But there's a lot of like outpouring people talking about how important he was, and like he changed the industry. I saw someone post that him and Walt Disney together were probably the biggest changers in entertainment in this past century.
Yeah.
And to Stan, thank you. Thanks for the memories. Excelsior!
I'm not doing it.
No.
Cody.
No.
An Excelsior shame you.
All right, fine, Excelsior.
But I was glad to. I never actually met him directly, but I did go to a couple of his panels at I was gonna say Crypticon.
I was gonna say, yeah, Crypticon.
I'm like, wait,
Crypticon's raised its
I went to his
greatness.
panels at Emerald City Comic Con. He seemed a little out of it at this point. Oh, I used to joke with my friends like, "Well, where are we today? Well, we're Spider-Man," you know. But that 2 or 3 years ago, he was there, and my big moment with him is I was walking down a hall, and he was coming out from a hallway with his handlers, and we looked right in the eye, and he nodded back. That was close enough. That's the best thing.
I saw him from a distance, also at an Emerald City Comic Con.
Well, if you ran into him somewhere else, it'd be kind of weird.
I saw him on the big screen because I've never gone to Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh, really?
There's so many people. I hate people. People are the worst. I have to see people.
I feel it. It's gotten really big.
Yeah.
Since
every year
I
it's
started
bigger and
going.
bigger.
I mean, Crypticon is the level of big that doesn't bother me. But it starts to make me feel like Pike Place Market and tourist season or like Times Square, where I just want to punch people.
Exactly.
And I might, so.
And speaking of Crypticon, we got 2 new guests, 3 guests since the last time we recorded, since we
Oh,
lost one.
since
CJ Graham, who played Jason in Friday the 13th, Part 6. Friendly guy, met him at a couple of different conventions.
And he'll be appearing in costume one day.
Oh, nice.
Which would be
nice.
amazing.
I
Which means he
respect
can put someone else in the costume and he can take the day off. No, I'm kidding. Thanks, any Jason, right? There's a zillion around. But the wings, sure. Yeah, then we got Ray Wise.
Yeah.
Dying for.
That's gonna be the hashtag, motherfucking Ray Wise, man. That's awesome.
And then of course they added the other day Cheryl Lee, so we're gonna have
who's
Leland
lovely.
and Laura Palmer.
Oh, yeah,
I freaked her out the last time she was at Crypticon.
Yeah, just
Barbara
second.
Steele also got an too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually, I'm stoked about that one too. I have a feeling Tony K is gonna be
That's Tony K.
I will do all the interviews. Shout out to Tony K. But no, very exciting.
The best thing about Ray Wise is I posted this on Facebook. I posted it on my own. But for the 9 years that I've been coming to Crypticon, I've known Aaron Fudge to every 2 weeks we'd be at Rocky Horror down in Tacoma, and they'd mention something coming up for Crypticon. What are we working on? This, I'm like, well, is it Ray Wise? Because it's Ray Wise, I don't care. And now it's finally Ray Wise. And now I don't know what to bother Aaron with anymore.
I want Tony Todd to come back selfishly, just because the year that he came, I missed it. But
Wait, did you miss Crypticon, or did you miss?
Yeah, my stupid ex's brother got married, and I had to go to that.
Okay, real quick side note on that. My brother, love him to death, the good brother. He got married over WrestleMania 19 weekend, and that motherfucker cost me WrestleMania 19 because it was in Seattle.
Oh.
I could have gotten to see Stone Cold Steve Austin's last match. You didn't even stay married. I will forever.
Right? A month later, we separated, and I'm like, cool, yo, I'm in your brother's wedding picture, so that sucks to be you. But no, a good friend of mine had him take a picture with my picture, which was lovely. But what I want to do is then take a picture with Tony Todd while I'm holding the picture of him with my picture.
Get the Inception.
Yeah.
And then we can just keep going each time I see him. I just want the layers to never end.
Layers of Tony Todd.
Exactly. That is my goal. That's my new life goal. # Kim's life goals.
And speaking of, Crypticon guest from the last year, unfortunately he couldn't make it, and then he passed away, but George Romero.
Yeah.
And there's apparently, they've resurfaced a short film that he made.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
amusement park, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Apparently it's a PSA about elder abuse or something to that effect. Or something in there. Unfortunately, only a handful of people have seen it in the last, 50 years. But hopefully we get a release, and the one person who's been tweeting about it that kind of broke the story has said it's brutal and is the most nasty work since the original zombie movies. So
But it's a
hopefully we get a chance
PSA?
to see it. Yeah, apparently it's very wide.
Dude,
Never shown.
some of those PSAs are dark as shit. Like that one where they're telling you not to have bad kitchen safety, and the chick gets her face burned off.
Like on Riff Tracks, they watch a lot of
my
old
God.
shorts and like shake hands with danger.
Yeah.
And then about people getting things ripped off. Like they're nastier and gorier than most horror films are in these
Seriously?
shorts. Yeah, check
Yeah.
them out. Like I have a bunch of.
There's one. Like I said, and I feel bad for saying it. My favorite one is the one where she's like, "Yeah, I'm the sous chef here," and she's got this thing of like boiling water. And then she's like, I'm not getting married next weekend because I didn't do this and this. And next thing you know, it's just,
Oh, jeez.
Like sleepaway camp.
oh yeah, it's graphic.
They're out there, but yeah, Riff Tracks puts them back out there with
I'm
the
sorry, but
commentary, and
that's
it's
a funny
amazing.
reaction.
It's appalling.
But at least you won't lose a finger.
Hashtag blood on the asphalt.
Yes, it's stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, like
what
those things you watched in Driver's Ed kind of.
Yeah,
Those were
because
awful.
these are things that are made to be shown in schools and colleges to
Wow, my
teach
school
you
really
to stop doing
drops the
stupid
ball.
things.
Or if you're in the deep south,
We just watch things about our
sex.
periods.
If you have sex, a
You
dog
will
will bite
die.
your penis off.
Is there really one that says that?
No.
I want there to
I
be one.
want that
Can we
one.
make one?
Yes.
We're gonna make one.
Yes.
But the
Okay.
sex ed I had in high school was very "you will die" sort of thing, really focused on the STDs.
I heard that sentence slightly different than it came out. I didn't hear Ed, I heard had.
No,
And I was
that
like,
didn't
yeah,
happen in
wow.
high school.
He was told every time, you will die.
You will die.
Well, especially if they get abstinence-only education. That's a whole different
It's
thing.
like South
Let's
Park
go and let's take
episode
that
with
and throw it
Kenny
over
really
there.
wanting a blowjob and Cartman the whole time being like, your dick's gonna fall off, you're gonna die, and Kenny finally gets his blowjob and then he dies.
Yeah.
Because he catches something.
Not just a blowjob in the Applebee's parking
In the
lot.
Applebee's parking
That's
lot.
all specific.
Yeah, and because the inside of a girl's mouth is the dirtiest place. And I just, Cartman,
Is that true though, Kim?
sometimes the words that come out of my mouth are the
You've heard her
dirtiest
talk.
thing. You've heard me talk. I'm toning it down right now. In case any of the listeners at home feel like, I don't know, sensitive. I don't think anyone listening to us right now is feeling particularly sensitive, but you never know.
And if you're feeling sensitive, go fuck yourself. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love you, sensitive people.
And then another movie news / trailers. We got a couple came out the other day. The one that's blowing up the internet right now is the Detective Pikachu trailer.
Good.
Have you guys watched that yet?
Nope.
I haven't actually watched it. I just see all the tweets about it, and part of me is enjoying being mystified.
It's I haven't played a Pokemon game since Red Blue back on my Game Boy. This trailer, oddly enough, I'm really into the movie. Like I watched it, like my wife, I watched it. Like this is weird and it's odd, like because they're CGI creations, but they're furry and they look slightly different than they do normally. But there's something really charming about it. That and Ryan Reynolds is voicing Pikachu.
But doesn't Pikachu only say Pika?
Yeah, he can speak English, and one person, the Justice Smith from Fallen Kingdom, can understand him. So he's hearing Pika 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 for everyone else. But so there's translation things because he apparently this sentient. Apparently most of the Pokemon are sentient, which is kind of weird to make them fight. But that's all.
And crap them in the balls, too.
Yes,
That's
exactly. But it's like a live action Pokemon that doesn't look off and it looks like really winky and not taking itself incredibly seriously. So this could be something really fun because the trailer, yes, it won me over. I really don't give a crap about Pokemon.
No,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit the wrong generation for it, and I don't really understand.
Also, releasing yesterday was Toy Story 4 short teaser.
Yeah, what's
What
with that
the fuck
weird
are
little
they making
spork
that for?
thing?
I don't know. It's getting more existential because those movies already are, and now they get this thing. Apparently, if you just draw eyes in something, it makes it alive.
That's
This
weird.
Toy Story universe is weird.
So, what does that mean about sex toys?
I was gonna say, 'cause,
There's eyes on your sex toys?
Yeah.
like the rabbits. The rabbit has eyes, Bob. The rabbit has eyes.
I'll take your word for that. Put little goofy eyes.
Well,
No.
that's
No.
a little level of creepy. But
What about like blow up dolls?
oh
Yeah.
god, oh god, yeah, I hadn't even gone there. That's
This is the joke I've seen elsewhere. Like Buzz and Woody are also Andy's mom's toys. And they
That's the basis of a robot chicken thing too.
yeah, I think so, probably.
I remember that.
I'm surprised they're making a fourth one. Maybe Pixar just needs a boost of some sort.
Yeah, I was just wondering that too.
But it was
well,
weird, like-
revisiting franchise is such a thing right now, though.
Exactly, something from 20 years. Well, the last one this was about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
When they all kind of just said, all right, we're cool. About to accept death, and then got rescued.
Maybe this time they will accept death and invite death into their living room.
Exactly.
Maybe this time they won't recast Jim Varney.
Take old clips. This is his brother doing the voice now, though.
It's still not Jim Varney.
But what's weird, like trailers, like at the beginning, they're it's playing that Joni Mitchell song from Love Actually and Hereditary this year as well.
Yeah.
And then
both
they're going around like
sides.
they're all about the both sides.
Both sides
that,
out, yeah.
Uh,
Good song.
But it seemed like they had already died. They're just floating around in heaven. It's like, all right, cool. They accepted their death from last time. But we'll find out. But coming out against it that same day, in June of next year, is the new Child's Play movie, which put out a teaser poster today.
Which is definitely going to have the same demographic of people going to it.
I want the one with the toy. Which one?
Which one? I so
the one that kills people?
Want,
Which one?
I so desperately want people to mix up which theater they're going into. Like, so badly, I want that to happen. I want that to be a thing. Can we make that a thing? Can you, like, switch the posters at your reading?
I'll do what I can.
Because, my God, that
I remember one time, The Hills Have Eyes 2 got played. The beginning of that got played where somebody was going to go see Bridge to Terabithia. So,
they're practically the same movie.
Yeah, both have child death in it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair enough. Any other trailers or news that I might not have mentioned that you guys want to
I
discuss?
saw the new Captain Marvel trailer today during Prospect, and I will say I was already, like, insanely excited, and now it's reached new levels of rah!
It's amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It looks really well, and I mean, as the chick voice in the group, I'm like Wonder Woman set a very high bar for me in how we look at not just superhero movies with women, but just superhero movies. I thought it was a fantastic movie. And so, I mean, I'm trying to not have my expectations be too high, but also, I need this movie to be good. I need it to be good.
Marvel typically doesn't fuck up, though.
No, even the movies of theirs that I haven't been as into the franchise as much, I still enjoy.
Even Thor 2 is an okay movie.
Yeah,
it's
super
put the bar.
fun,
Yeah, it just in comparison, like people always say that about, oh, that's awful. Like, no, it's just awful compared to everything else.
But it's still a good time. No, I in general, I don't think there's a Marvel movie that I haven't. Well, the Hulk one, but that's.
They forget about that one.
Yeah. Bruce Banner exists. That movie pretty much doesn't.
Yeah.
The Master is still somewhere out there doing whatever he's doing, or whatever is Brainiac or whatever. No, Brainiac.
No, it wasn't the Master. It was the leader.
Yeah, that's it. That was close.
The Master's Fallout, Bob. Get your shit correct.
Yeah, geez, you call yourself a geek.
I'm gonna throw myself out of this window right now.
You should.
And then just maybe briefly things that we might have seen recently that might discuss, which. Cody and I did see The Grinch and Nutcracker recently, so we do have reviews on our YouTube channel for that, so we're not going to go into that a second time. Yeah, so just go watch those watch those reviews instead.
I will follow up with a note on The Grinch. There is a Grinch porn parody. It is not called The Grunch, and that is in my search history from now on.
Don't let your fiance see that.
Oh no, I showed her. We watched the video together.
With pistachio salty nuts.
Yes. It's exactly what you think, and it starts to wear off over time. I'll just say that.
That's a visual that won't go away for a while.
Hashtag The Grunch.
I also recently watched a couple political things that I just wanted to briefly mention. My wife and I watched RBG, the documentary about
I've heard good
Ginsburg.
things about that.
It's wonderful. It's really positive. Like, it's not a warts and all documentary. It's very meant to be a loving tribute to her. Like, completely. He's like, this woman's awesome. You should love her, and she's doing everything for women and minorities. I don't say women sexual equality, because she defended men in similar cases that, where like a guy was trying to get Social Security benefits because his wife died, and they said no because you're a man. He's like, I should just get this too.
Yeah.
So it goes around both ways. So, but it's a fascinating documentary. It was streaming on CNN before, streaming on Hulu now.
Oh, nice.
Because CNN produced it, so they put it out, and I know they started airing it themselves. But it's very, very much just to put her up on a pedestal and say she's awesome and we love her.
I can't wait for the Kavanaugh one in 40 years. I like beer.
That's what it's called.
And then when you buy the DVD or whatever it's called at that time, you get a copy of his calendar.
The stream into your head. As it just pushes its way in there. I highly recommend that. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is an amazing woman. She's done so much great things. And
please, for the love of God, don't die.
Please. She fell the other day. Well, she
She's
fell the
okay.
other day, and she's back at work. According to the documentary, she's never missed a day of work on the court. I don't know. Someone said that in a talking head, so I don't know how true that is. So I didn't go and source that myself, but I assume it's in the documentary, so it must be
Somebody
true.
did. Let's
Yeah,
hope.
so somebody did. And then she broke 3 ribs last week and came back to work the next day, where someone else didn't go outside because it was drizzly out.
And by someone else, he means President Trump.
Yes.
Like, don't be coy about
I wasn't
it.
trying to. I was trying to just
The
make a joke.
asshole wouldn't go
Yes.
out in the rain for Veterans Day. Fuck him.
I will be bringing up President Trump during our main topic.
Fair enough. All right.
You
He
said
makes us
feel bad movies. I got some feel bad
God.
movies.
And also in the political spectrum, in a different way, I watched Chappaquiddick last night, and it's really blah. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Jason Clarke, who you previously called a charisma suck.
A charisma black
That's
hole.
it.
He
That's
is a
it.
charisma black hole.
He plays Teddy Kennedy, and it's about
Ouch.
the.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a
about the
weird
drowning.
casting, and I like him.
He actually kind of looks like him with the makeup on, and it works out. But the movie itself, it doesn't paint him as either a victim or a villain. He's just kind of someone stuck in the center, and we know he did an awful thing, and it's going into that. So it's really doesn't really have a narrative drive in that case. And of course, I get mad watching it because it's rich people trying to get away with doing bad things, which is continually something that pisses me off.
They shot the wrong Kennedys.
Oh,
It's true. I thought that since I was a child.
I think we all think that.
I mean, like if just leave Bobby alive. He was the good one.
Yes. Well, from what we can tell.
Yeah,
We'll
from
find
what
out.
we can tell.
And then hopefully coming out soon is The Front Runner, which looks to be
Gary
more
mother
a funny
fucking
take on
Hart.
political issues. So that looks to be fun.
I will be there day one.
Which is Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it comes out this weekend.
Wow.
And then
Isn't the
against Fantastic Beasts and Widows.
Which
I'm not excited for Fantastic Beasts.
Kill me. I'm gonna have to go see that with Carolyn.
I'm gonna see
no,
it. So
if I can see it for free, I'll see it. I don't want
I'll get
to.
you in.
Okay, because I won't spend money on a Johnny Depp movie.
Yeah.
I won't. Or I could do what Lenny used to do, Lenny from the Horror Honeys. She got into this where if you go see a movie where someone in the movie did something horrible against a woman, that you have to donate them the cost of the ticket to a women's shelter.
I did that when I bought Dummy Kretz.
Yeah,
Which
like
you didn't even see.
you like find a way to balance the scales, but I'm just why the fuck did? Okay,
Oh no,
I'm not
Bob.
gonna, it's a whole other podcast.
I got refunded and the DVD's on its way.
Oh, fair enough. And speaking of people doing awful things, I did see Bohemian Rhapsody, which I'm not going to bring in too much. I'm actually going to write a review or do a filmed one. The nitty gritty of Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a just slightly above average by the numbers biopic with an amazing performance that brings it up to the next level. If it wasn't for Rami Malek as Freddie, who absolutely just kills it, it would have been.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, it's the first thing I've really seen him in. I've seen him like the bit parts here and there.
I was Mr. Robot.
I haven't watched that yet, but
He was in that game Until Dawn.
Yeah,
He was really good in that.
He was really good in that.
But he is such a great Freddie. In fact, my wife got home that night. We went to see it. Then I went to work, and she went to Gilmore Girls, and he shows up for an episode. She's like, "Look who's in Gilmore Girls."
Yeah, that's right. No, I vaguely
He plays
remember.
someone at the Lutheran College that Paris went to.
Yeah, and there's a handful of actors who pop up in Gilmore Girls.
Everyone does it.
Abed from Community pops up in a couple episodes. He's on the paper with Rory.
Yep.
And Ray Wise is in it.
Yes, yes.
Really?
Yeah, he's in the new season. Well, that came out last year.
Oh.
He plays Emily's new beau.
I went and saw on Halloween the new Suspiria.
Woo!
And fucking loved it.
That is amazing. I think I actually like it better than the first.
Still
I
haven't
think it's a
seen it.
better movie, but the
I
first
think
is more entertaining.
The first, well, see, what's funny is that I found it very compelling. And so even though it's a 2.5-hour movie, I never felt like I was sitting through a 2.5-hour movie.
Exactly.
But it is a very slow burn. But I didn't care because I was so engaged. So
Tilda.
Oh my God, Tilda! I will. It's interesting too. I went with two people who did not know some particulars about the casting.
Yeah.
Which I won't go into
Allison
detail.
didn't figure it out too. I told her.
Yeah, and afterwards we were talking about it, and that was a fun moment. Their reactions to that. So, but I highly recommend. I highly recommend it. Not just as I went with two non-horror fans, and they loved it.
Yeah, it gets nasty, but in a good way. Like, it doesn't feel like his gratuitous nasty.
No, and I mean, the moment where it kind of gets the nastiest is almost like it becomes something more than gore.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a different kind of statement. But yeah, I highly recommend.
And then, Cody, anything that you watched recently?
Endless hours of election coverage.
Oh,
That's
fair
kind
enough.
of that's kind of been my week the last week.
I kind of looked at the results and called it a day.
Oh no, I was there on night one, because I had to work last Tuesday, and it was just me sitting at the computer. First it was sadness, and then it was elation. It was at least enthused that we didn't completely fuck it up twice in a row.
Completely, not completely.
Completely.
And so now we've caught up and everything. How about we talk a little bit about the topic at hand, our feel-bad movies, the movies that we watch and immediately regret that we watched it, which makes me lead into the question is, why do people like us, or just generally people, seek out movies that aren't, ending in a happy ending that make us feel bad? Like, why would you seek these out? Because it's something I've always been asked.
Well, I mean, sometimes you don't know going
Yeah.
in that you're going to be watching something that's going to gut you.
Fair enough.
And I think there's different degrees, because there's movies that are hard to watch. One that always comes to mind for me is Dear Zachary.
There's
Oh God!
Yeah,
But
that's something you don't know until.
You don't know, and yet,
Spoiler for a 12-year-old movie.
if I need a good cry, I will watch that movie again. There's like, if I'm just feeling really sad, and for some reason I don't want to try to pick myself out of it, I want to just dive deep into a black hole, I will rewatch that movie, because it's so human, it's so good. And it's one I recommend to people, but I always warn them, like, it's a gut punch.
Yeah, and when that particular moment happens,
Oh
it's
my
just,
God,
I didn't know it was coming, and just like the stomach drops out, everything just drops out. Like,
I think I
what?
just was sobbing from then through the end of the movie. But it's so painful and so raw that it's, in terms of accessing them, I mean, which is, some of this is, I suppose, maybe as a performer, that anytime you see something that creates such a reaction in you, there's a part of you that wants to revisit the feeling,
Yes.
even though it's slightly masochistic.
I understand as a performer too.
Yeah, where it's like it elicits such an emotional response. There is a part of you that wants to recreate that emotional response. Yeah.
In a similar vein, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. You ever see that one?
I thought it was really trying to get to that. And
The book was better. Book was better.
It
But
usually is.
I always thought that was a bit of a gut punch, but I watched it when I was 14. Fucked me up.
Mm-hmm.
Brisha Terabithia.
Oh, fuck that movie. Fuck that book. I hate it.
We cheered when it happened when we were children. And then when I watched it as an adult, I'm like, what?
I hate that. I read that book when I was a kid, and it messed with me, because I was not okay. I was not okay with what I don't want to do too many spoilers if people haven't seen it.
It's a 40-year-old book and a 15-year-old movie.
Yeah,
so
I think it's okay.
I think you're safe.
I think anyone listening has probably read it in 4th grade. So
that's what I read. I was not emotionally prepared for that.
But it's kind of the point of it, though.
I know, but I wasn't okay with it.
That's a movie did not expect to come up.
I didn't sign on for what happened at that age. I did not consent for that to happen when I was that little. I was not okay with it. Yeah, I was not okay with it. It made me mad. I never read it again. I actually didn't see the movie because I didn't want to, because it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I was a kid, but it had a really strong impact, and not a good one.
And we were like, I think we were 10, and we were like, oh yeah, we should got death in there. And then I watched it, I was like 14. I'm like, man, I was fucked up to say that.
Well, it's the same way like The Giver. When I first read The Giver, I did not realize what happened at the end. I thought he went and lived happily with this other. I didn't get that he's dying.
There's sequels, and I don't know.
I know, and the sequels.
I haven't read them.
No,
so
I did out of curiosity as an adult, and the sequel then does be up. But
we both know.
But when you read it, he's dying. Like, him and the baby are dying, and that did not register when I was a kid. And I reread as a teenager, I was like, well, that's fucked.
The Road.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, the book and then the movies just on the same. The movie is actually almost as good as the book.
But notice how many of these we're already naming that are books,
Yes.
Yeah,
which I just think is interesting.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of times books can tell a better story than like a straight up movie can.
Oh yeah.
So they're able to kind of pour on that more, especially a more emotional story
Yeah.
because you're invested
Or
longer
run
in
up
it.
like a gut punch at some point because you could build into it without feeling like it was purposely trying to rip the rug out from under you just to get that emotional response. Just even build up to it. Like,
I don't know.
The movie isn't good to go with, and then it happens like this is definitely a different type of movie, but maybe like Pay It Forward, which is like, and then Haley Joel Osment dies.
It felt gratuitous.
Yeah, exactly. And a badly made movie can come off gratuitous, like but if that was a book first,
maybe it would have
can
felt more
build
organic.
better. Yeah.
Which, in a kind of separate vein, a movie that for me was a gut punch or was hard to watch was Starry Eyes. That movie,
I still have yet to see that
it
one.
messed me up. It really messed me up. And again, I think some of that is identifying a little bit too much with you have a young actress in it. And as we live in Seattle, that's what happens.
Yep.
Sirens.
And now those same guys who made that are making New Pet Cemetery, which also has the giant gut punch and gut punching, where everything gets worse and worse and worse, which happens in these movies that we're talking about today.
And yet another movie that I've rewatched a dozen times. And so I do find it interesting, why are certain gut punches in some movies more bothersome than others? A movie like Pet Sematary, again, I will watch over and over and over again.
I think maybe it's the way that's presented sometimes, where it's just part of the story on the whole, where it's that the gut punch issue like isn't it is the triggering thing for everything happens, but I guess done in a less like nasty way, where something like, I don't know, like Lars von Trier stuff feels like he's just gritting your teeth at you and like just barking at you with the movie instead of trying to. I like most of his work, but it's nasty in the way he presents it. Like it feels like he is coming out to not rip your heart out, but
I don't
stab
like
you a bunch of times in the
work,
heart.
so, yeah. and again, in a way that feels, I feel like the storytelling goes the way of, let me stab you in the heart. Like, my end goal here isn't to craft a story, it's to fuck with my audience. And again, cool dude, not my personal type of, not stylistically, not something I want to, I'm willing to watch Drew Zachary again and, blow my brains out that way, but raw, and it's, some of that is that it's a documentary.
Yeah, and Drew Zachary's very honest as a movie in a way.
Yeah,
and some people say that part of halfway through and building up to that way isn't honest and meant to do that, but also I feel like that the filmmaker is trying to get something over that way. It's his own catharsis.
And when he started the film too, he had a different intent in mind.
And life gave him something else.
And life gave him something else, and he adjusted. But yeah, I think the rawness of it and the fact that it's a real story, it hits a little more. And it's just, man, it hits on a lot of levels, because it doesn't just hit in the sense of tragedy, but the tragedy exists because of like the legal system failing and the failure of all these other things I think we can also kind of identify with. Like, it's like watching any of the documentaries, anything that you have someone where you think they're wrongfully accused, that's rough to watch. Now, one could argue making a murderer is that, but I don't necessarily think he was wrongfully accused. So
the way he went about it was not right, but I think he likely did it.
yeah. When you look at the whole picture, but then something like Serial, I'm not sure that he's innocent, but based on what happened at the trial, he shouldn't have been convicted.
Yeah, I honestly think 90% of it. I 90% believe that Anand did kill the girl.
It's very possible, but looking again at the looking at how the trial went down and looking at the fact that their key witness has come out after the fact and admitted to lying.
Yeah, that Jason was it Jason? What?
Jay
story should never have gone where it did. Like it's the same thing with like the Paradise Lost murders, the Robin Hill murders.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And there's documentaries on that.
yeah,
and it's a
3 of
very
them.
similar-
Yeah.
yeah,
And then there's the movie, and then one
Yeah.
other documentary, and a couple books. But that's it breaks your heart to know that
Yeah.
everything is fucked up with the legal system and the way that people are treated. But that's kind of a whole different thing, right?
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But no, I think sometimes again, looking at stories that are real, looking at documentaries versus looking at fiction too, that can be real life tragedy, something that you know is going to be ending a story. I can't watch any 9/11 movies. I was in New York when 9/11 happened. I know there's been a bunch of World Trade Center movies. There's the one about the flight. I can't watch any of them. I tried to, couldn't do it.
I've seen the.
Makes you feel any better. They're mostly garbage.
Yeah,
Cool.
they are, and they're mostly like pointing at that. It's like the "Remember Me" or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
But just throws out at the very end of nowhere.
Oh yeah, the
that
one
Robert
with
Pattinson.
like
Yeah.
Michelle Williams or something.
I think it's the girl from Lost.
Oh, what about that
Oh, yeah.
incredibly loud and incredibly close or
Yeah,
whatever it is?
Oh, yeah.
I hated that book. That movie is even worse. Like I love Jonathan Saffron, whatever. Everything is eliminated was brilliant. Gotta be loud and whatever the fuck it is. That movie.
That's the official title.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck it is.
That movie was god awful.
Oh fuck! I hated
And
it.
that was one that was totally winking to be. Hey,
Oscar.
we're gonna do what we can to get this ring emotion from you rather than honestly trying to tell that.
Which also pisses me off. When you're feeling when a movie is trying to get that reaction out of you. Again, we're with like Pay It Forward, where you're like it just feels so artificial.
Exactly.
Even when they did like Jackie, the movie on Jackie Kennedy,
Yeah.
I like that.
I didn't really like it. I thought it played too much on just like, oh, her husband died. And it kind of undercut the message that it was trying to do in the end.
Yeah.
Felt like they could have done more with that. That was kind of disappointing.
I think if you look at something like The Queen, which you're looking at this, I mean, again, different circumstances, but the death of a public figure and how it affected her and how it related to her, and she was still a very, and part of that was Helen Mirren because fuck Helen Mirren, but but she was such a three-dimensional. There was a lot happening, and it was very human. It was very, again, it hit those buttons of humanity that I think are sometimes lacking in some of those movies.
Yeah, and then like looking at my list here, like a lot of these movies, like often don't have that humanity or don't purpose. But is that making like less of a movie? Like something like that Gaspar Noé comes out with, like Irreversible. There's no entertainment value there besides just the way maybe it's told.
Is that the one where they have like that 15-minute rape scene?
Yeah, with Monica Bellucci. Yeah, and that I've only seen the movie once. It's like a movie that I watched once. Like, all right, cool, I'm done.
Yeah.
Never need to see this again.
Never need to see it again.
And then is there a weird entertainment value with like that or Antichrist or anything like that where? Well, that was a great movie, and I'm never gonna see this again. But I can't really recommend this, But it makes me wonder, like, why do we go into like watching? Like, Alice and I were watching Hereditary, and she had me turn it off after the first act finished, which that's a really new movie, so I'm definitely not gonna spoil where anything goes there. But she was like, it absolutely broke her, and she was crying, and we were watching it, and then she's like, why would anyone make this? What do they expect to get out of this? And why are we subjecting ourselves to this?
It's a mind fuck. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I couldn't even tell you when I came out of Hereditary if I liked it or not. I just felt like, well, shit.
Well, that
I'm
happened.
still, I mean, like, I'm still not sure if I liked it or not,
The revisit, like, I still haven't picked up and watched Acts 2 and 3 on my own yet, which I'm going to, but without the gut punch of everything that happens, knowing where everything goes, is it going to still feel the same? Or do you think that we're still able to find like rewatch value out of it? Like I've seen Antichrist a couple of times, watched it myself and watched the commentary, and then I showed it to Allison because she actually wanted to watch it. Then it broke her a couple hours later. Like I think we watched Alien, and then I was about to go watch Prometheus, and then she just started crying and kind of delayed reaction, but it was from the emotional experience of watching that, but it's such a negative
Are you
emotion.
sure it
It's
wasn't
brutal.
to avoid watching Prometheus?
Well, I was going to see it by myself. It was the night that came out, so we didn't know how
I
bad
cry
it was.
anytime someone says we have to watch
Well, I was going to see, she was going to go to bed. I was going to watch it. That's besides the point.
No, I mean, I think you're right. There are those movies that you're like, I've seen this. I don't need to see it again.
Those are the August Underground movies for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate stuff like, that is super gory, like that is like a piece of weird fucked up art. Never gonna see it again though.
Yeah.
I don't want to see something that literally looks like they crawled out of a serial killer's basement.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Poughkeepsie tapes. Probably never gonna see that shit
sitting on my
again.
to-watch list
funny?
forever.
I watched it last year as part of 100 Days of Horror, and it had been so hyped. I was expecting something, and it's sort of sad that like 10 years later, because it was 2008-ish or so. Yeah. So about 10 years later when I finally saw it, because there's been enough fucked up shit that's come out since then, I watched Poughkeepsie tapes and I was like,
I'll watch that again before Serbian film,
I mean, oh my god.
I can't even watch it. That comes to the point where Serbian film seems on the lines like, we're just going to mess you up because we want to mess you up. Rather than actual artistic merit.
That movie was just lame.
I wanted to bleach my eyeballs. I can't. That's one of the ones you can't unsee. There's movies that you can't unsee. That's a movie you can't unsee, and I wish I could.
And for me, it doesn't quite cross that, and I don't think it's because it's necessarily because it's got a bad subject matter. I mean, but it's just like it feels like over the line, just like they just doing it just for attention.
Yeah, it's like, and that's
value,
why I'm like, what's the difference in it?
So
shock value
to
compared to it's like something like Serbian film of nasty for nasty's sake, like the guinea pig films or the not those ones.
No.
You know what I'm talking about though?
Some dude thought at Crypticon that I said I have a lot of guinea pigs. That I thought I had the movies. I'm like, bro, do you even? I'm wearing a guinea pig shirt.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Then he goes to his Mondo Kana collection.
Oh, I actually do have the Mondo Kanes.
Or Mondo Cane, how to pronounce that. I've seen a couple of them here and there.
I thought it was Mondo Cane at the first time, and I'm like, I don't remember them making something about Kane, the wrestler.
Mondo Cane in the fire. But like stuff between that or Face of the Death, that's what I was trying to think.
Face of the Death loses its fucking value knowing that half that shit's fake.
Yeah.
And the stuff that isn't really much.
Lame.
Audition.
Yes, that's a fun one.
That's one that I saw and I'm like, cool. I'm good.
Now, question going into that, did you know that's where it was going?
I knew, not fully.
Wait,
No.
is Audition the one where he gets kidnapped and she cuts his leg off with a piano wire?
That's slightly right.
And then think she vomits in a dog bowl at one point?
Some of those details are correct.
Okay, so I've seen it. It didn't make that much of an impact on me then.
That's funny about that one to Allison too, where she actually asked to watch that as well, because she thought it was a different movie than it was. And then halfway through, so she likes to read fucked up things. Like she loves reading fucked up things more than she does now. Now her tolerance is a little lower, but she also seeked out a couple of the movies that went to that. So especially when they were in my collection, she's like, "Oh yeah, let's watch these." So someone at some point told her in the past she needed to watch Audition. Forgot why, and then so she's like, "Can we watch Audition?" I'm like, "Okay." So I put Audition in. We're watching it, and she's like, "I don't see what." Oh,
there it is.
When the bag moved, and she's like, "Okay, I see where this is going now." And then the turn happens. And
I like Old Boy too. That's another one where
we watched that together.
I thought it was a very well done film, but I watched that once. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to revisit this. That
hallway fight is one of the best fights of all time.
It's amazing. But there's just some stuff in it that actually weirdly the thing that gets me the most is probably where he eats the is it the octopus or the squid?
Something like that.
Yeah, because he really is eating a live sea creature at that point. And that I don't know why that's the thing that really messes with me, but that messes with me.
If we're talking about animal death, obviously Cannibal Holocaust. It seems to come up oddly enough in all of our podcasts.
Yep.
It's just if you listen to bonus material and Langley brings up King Kong once per episode, somehow we bring up Cannibal Holocaust once per episode.
And Jason Momoa.
And just
shirtless.
Justice for Ben Tramer.
One that got me that I wasn't expecting was The Wailing.
Sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, I was fine until the last 30 minutes that got uncomfortably tense. Partially because there's nothing like it's the most drawn out, just happening in real time sequence. And I don't know if it was just I watched on an airplane and my airplane landed and I turned my phone on and Carrie Fisher had died, and it was just like I think maybe it was one thing after another, and I almost started bawling on the airplane because it was too many things. And
we jinxed that shit with Carrie Fisher, though. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, 2016 can't get her." 2016 got her.
Yep.
Like people were making like celebration comics. I'm like, she just had a massive heart attack. Don't do that. You are going to jinx her.
Yeah.
Then get her and Debbie Reynolds right after.
The Wailing. I thought that was one of those documentaries about the Japanese whalers.
Oh, like Blackfish.
I've seen those, and those are fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Blackfish.
Oh no, Blackfish is about SeaWorld, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, but there is one about documentary about.
Yeah.
I watched around saying I watched Blackfish. Kind of a thing for a little bit.
Dude, SeaWorld's fucked up.
SeaWorld is fucked up. No, I did a double weekend where I saw The Act of Killing and then Blackfish, and
yeah.
and then I wanted to just die.
Yeah.
I wanted to not
Watch
exist.
The Act of Killing, and then the Something of Silence is the sequel.
Yeah, I haven't watched the sequel yet because
The Look of Silence. Yeah.
The first one was hard.
Yeah, that's one of those documentaries that it's important to watch it.
It's important to watch it, but it's hard to watch.
Yeah, it makes you feel angry. It makes you feel empty. Yeah, it's the film you're talking about. It makes you feel empty. It makes you feel like the world is an awful place.
Yeah.
And for things like this to happen, like I watched First They Killed My Father, which is a non-documentary, but ish, from last year, based upon a memoir that Netflix put out last year.
Yeah.
About the Cambodian killings.
Oh, Kumar Rose, right?
Yeah.
Anything on the Holocaust.
Oh yeah, Schindler's List.
God.
It's another one where it's like it's a fantastic film, but how many times in your life you're like, you know what movie is gonna just lift my spirits right now? No, it's not.
You have to take the time to watch certain things. Like there's things that Alice and I have on our to watch list.
Yeah.
TV shows, movies, that we have to be. I can sit down and watch anything at any point. I'll just be fine. But she has to be in the right mindset, which. Why we haven't finished Handmaid's Tale. We watched. It's a great book, one of my favorite books. We watched 3 episodes because the episodes just make us so angry that we have to be in the mindset to even enter. But even like more lighter things, of course, I say this isn't really particularly light, but the new Haunting television show. Like I'm like, oh, when's the next episode of The Haunting? She's like, no, I don't feel like getting my night destroyed. Which is what we were waiting for Hereditary, for her to sit down and be the right mood.
Yeah.
Which obviously we didn't make it through.
No, I'm with her. I have to be in the right mood for a lot of things. And if I'm not, or if it's, like I haven't been able to watch The Handmaid's Tale because of everything that's happening in the country right now.
Yeah.
I'm too worried we're going to start living it.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't watch it. Yeah. I feel like that's porn for Mike Pence.
Yeah, no, but it's, I love the
Mother
book.
loves it.
That was the weirdest shit. I'm like, wait, what? When I found that out for the first time, I'm like, what the fuck?
Stuff with animals too. I'm very sensitive to things with animals, which again is why I like Blackfish just gutted me.
Yeah, I won't watch American Horror Story Cult because I know a guinea pig dies. Won't watch the whole. Stopped after 1 episode. Seems like a good show. Won't support guinea pigs dying. That's my one thing. Like I can watch literally pretty much anything. You should kill a guinea pig, you know.
Mentioned a couple filmmakers that continually, that's kind of their practice. Lars von Trier, Gaspar Noé. But I want to actually bring up one that 2 of his movies, 3, depending on how you look at it. Okay, maybe more than 3. But Darren Aronofsky.
Oh.
Mother last year.
Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie. Let it die. I hated it. I hated it so much. Sorry.
Yeah, we're opposite.
Did you hate it because of its plot, or was it just because it was a shitty movie?
All of the above.
Okay.
I thought first of all that he was just masturbating all over the screen. Second of all, fuck that movie. Third of all, no, I thought it was awful. I hated it so much.
I liked it in the sense that I really viewed it as a very very weird retelling of the Bible.
See, and I think some of it is that it hit me because there were some things with my marriage that sort of brought up, which is why, like, I spent the entire movie just wanting to scream.
No, I loved it, but I also understand that, like, you want to yell out for her.
It made me so mad. It's possible it's a good movie. I can't objectively look at it because I don't think I've ever had a movie outside of a documentary make me as angry as that movie.
But it's still got emotional connection from it in that way.
Yes, not in a way that
but not the way it's
I wanted
intended.
to burn the
Yes.
theater down. Like, I hadn't felt rage like that in a real long time, so that was good.
Which is better than, like, watching it like, this is nothing.
You know, I would have
Maybe,
been okay not feeling the rage I felt watching that movie. Like, it's rare that I actually felt like I wanted to leave a movie theater, and I wanted to leave the movie theater, but I was there with a friend, so I wasn't going to do that.
And then outside of Mother, then we have Requiem for a Dream, which
I've never seen that one.
Descends into nothing. Yeah, well, it's great. I mean, descends into pure darkness for everyone. And I recently read the book from the late 70s, I think it came out, which is even more worse reading it because you get more. Yeah, as you talked about earlier, a book has more of a chance to jump into you. Yeah.
Black Swan?
Black Swan, yeah. So the other one I was thinking is like, is that kind of towing the line?
Well, because what's funny for me is that Black Swan is probably what I like the most out of all of them, and which is also the one for me that's rewatchable. I really enjoyed it, and it didn't.
Because it has those fucked up moments, but it's not like the entire film.
And it's weirdly like, even at the ending, there's a weird joy in it.
Absolutely.
That is missing from a lot of his other movies. Like it's even though there's something kind of dark happening, it doesn't feel bleak.
Yeah, you still walk out entertained and like that was a great story, that was a great movie, compared to something else like Requiem for a Dream or Mother, where it's negative emotions. You still come out to Black Swan like, oh, that was great. Yeah, I know what's next. Compared to I'm gonna go bleach my eyes.
Or just, it made me angry.
And dude, Michelle Pfeiffer is like the worst house guest in that movie.
Going back to Mother, yeah.
Yeah, going back to Mother, I mean, like, she's like the type of person who like takes a crap in the top of the toilet, so when you flush, it comes out. That's her whole character in that movie.
I like that way of looking at it.
Yes. She's the kind of person who goes through your bread and then, like, just, like, grabs it with her hands and then picks out, like, the best piece and then just drops the other loaf on the floor. Just to be a dick.
But then says, oh, you should have got Franz instead.
Yes.
Why'd you get the store brand?
I mean, store brand bread. That's good shit.
Yeah, that's really good. But that's the point. A film which that also based upon a book that I really love that we talked about Tilda earlier was We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh, see, and I loved that movie. And even though it's not a movie I'd watch like every day of the week, because why? But
I gotta look it up.
Like I recommend that one. It's one I'd be fine watching again. Partially because the performances are so good.
Tilda's great. Ezra Miller is fantastic.
He's
John C. Reilly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everyone is beautiful across the board. Like Tilda's wonderful in everything.
Yeah, of course.
She's just she's my favorite actress easily. She's my favorite actor. Anyone. She's my favorite performer that's still alive. Sorry, Vincent. But that movie also descends where you see where it's heading. So even if you don't know where it's going, it's like a gut punch. If you see where it's heading, it's sometimes even worse. I read the book after watching the movie, and it's told in what's great about that book compared to the movie is told in two different ways. Yeah. So you can get as much out of either one without knowing what happens, and still get everything to still affect you in the same way.
I read about it. That sounds fucked up.
Yeah, I can loan it to you if you want.
It's one of those ones too that I mean, there's something to be said for the performances where you can. I mean, like you feel horrible for her.
Yeah.
Because she's in a situation she didn't want to be in. As a mother, like she didn't want to be a mother, and she became one, and
it was going to be shoved into the role as much as she tried to get out of it.
Yes, and you do start to wonder then, with everything that then happens, nature and nurture.
Yeah.
But his performance is so good too, where it's, I don't want to say you have sympathy for him because
Of what he did, yes.
Because of what he did, it becomes hard to, but
we also see it from her point of view, like, holy. So you don't know how.
yeah.
Of course, the action happens no matter how you look at it, but of how Kevin is, how much of that is her, and how much of that her putting it on to him.
Yeah. And it actually makes me think about, I just read a book about Ted Bundy, and it talked about the conversation he had with his mother on the phone before he was executed, and stuff like that, where anytime you're looking at the human side of someone who does horrific things.
My dad's ex-wife actually knew Ted Bundy, and he signed her yearbook.
Is before or after the killings? Did she know what he did when he asked?
Was in law school with him.
Oh.
And she knew him both before and after, and has some fun stories.
Sorry, what did you say about Ted Bundy, Bob? I just kind of.
Oh, I was saying when he signed it, was just like, "Cool, you're a killer. Can you sign this?" I knew you in this. It so happened, and you did this.
It was when they were friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because he was local.
Yeah.
Up in Tacoma.
He went to Wilson. Mm-hmm. Wilson in Tacoma.
My
My sister used to live like a block away from that.
Yeah, it's like Gary Ridgway. Not Gary Ridgway. Wait, is
Ridgway's Green River.
Man,
Yeah.
Gary Ridgway's worst crime was putting Dave Reichert in the fucking house for 12 years.
I don't know.
That was the sheriff who caught him. That asshole.
Okay.
And he became a GOP.
I was saying that Gary Ridgway was active around the Crypticon Hotel, which is
cool.
Yeah.
So he gets pointing
And
the pen on him, like, outside. See that corner? He killed a bunch of prostitutes.
Killed a ton.
Yeah,
that we know of, or did he cop to all?
Well, yes and no.
Yes
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't Killer something on our upcoming list, right? We'll talk about it at some point. And is there to say something about movies where we know that nothing positive is going to come out of that we're watching as things get worse and worse, and we know it's not going to end in a positive manner, that we still get something out of it? Where I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I was thinking about when I was thinking about the adaptation of Stephen King's 1922, where he's digging that hole. Is there perverse enjoyment, perhaps, in some of the cases? Like, you fucked up, and now we're watching you reap what you sowed?
I mean, I'm sure there is. I don't know that, and I'm not familiar with, I haven't watched it or read the story specifically that you're talking about. I don't know that I personally get enjoyment out of watching things just get worse. Again, part of what will appeal to me about some of these movies versus not is the emotional. It's something that you can relate to, or something that tugs at you enough, again, creates that emotional response where you feel the connection, versus just feeling like emotion porn.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of this stuff can turn.
Doing it for the sake of doing it.
Doing it for the sake of doing it. And that's when, personally, you lose me.
Yeah.
Because it becomes hollow.
Yeah, it's a different genre, different type of thing. But that's why, like, Alice and I quit Orange is the New Black in season 4.
Yeah.
Where it was just, we thought at that point it's just misery porn. Of like, they're just throwing everything at these women. What started out as a comedic drama, definitely more drama than it's comedy, but there's still comedic moments. By the time you get to season 4 and Baker stay on the table forever, it was like, all right, there's nothing positive anymore. This is just what nasty things gonna happen to them next. You know,
The Walking Dead has become that a little bit.
Yeah, I quit that season 5. So.
I keep watching it. Again, maybe this is proving the point, because there is some sadistic part of me that's like, why can't I quit this? Even though you just feel like you're slowly watching everyone die. And you get attached to people, and then they die.
For largely, that's kind of the point of The Walking Dead, though, because of the world that they are in. Is that, like...
The problem is that you start running out of characters then, like, I stopped getting invested in characters because they're just going to die. And you stop caring, which is where, I mean, their viewership is showing that. Like, I get that, yes, we're creating this bleak world, zombies, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you are still making a TV show.
Yeah.
And if
you make things positive,
well, and they
you don't have the show
have
anymore.
kept a good, solid group of characters alive for many seasons.
They're running out of them.
But they really can't keep them happy, though, because if you find a safe location that you're there,
And
there's no more drama.
And they've only got, like, 2 of their original cast members left.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
What, Carol and Daryl?
Carol and Daryl.
Although Rick is,
I don't know. I didn't watch the episode.
Still
so
hanging around.
Yeah, he's off the
but
Evil Dead
he's
cabin
off
or something.
the, yeah, this is,
He's
I
off
mean,
the
this has
show.
been so highly, if this is spoilers to you, the way that AMC has been talking about this.
Dude, AMC fucked up on that because Rick and Carl should still be alive.
But,
Spoilers.
well, but Rick specifically, it was because Andrew Lincoln is British and his family lives in the UK. And he was sick of being in the United States for like 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So
Georgia.
which, I mean, but it's not the first time it happened. The Wire with, what's his butt? McNulty. Yeah, he did a reduced schedule and was phased out because he is also British and wanted to be back with his family more. So the agreement that he came up with AMC is to do these movies where he'll be here for 2 months out of the year filming these movies. So, like, I get it. I get why he left, but then they knew this is something they've been talking about for seasons. So, yeah, so then kill Carl and then have him fake die, I think was a mistake.
They never should have killed Carl. That was that was a big mistake.
I
really don't think they should have killed Abraham. I think they should have just kept...
they should have just kept it at Glenn.
Because, I mean, it wasn't surprising, especially after they pulled that shit with the fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was awful.
I do like who they got for Negan, though. I like the portrayal.
I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I hope they do more with him that they're doing in the comics now.
I think the plan is with Andrew Lincoln gone and with what's her butt? Maggie's leaving too.
Pretty much.
Or is gone too now.
Reduced schedule. And so, I like Michonne is amazing. Like I'm happy that her role is getting beefier because she deserves it. And she's a great character. But I think the intention is to have Negan become a more prominent figure, partially because you've got a great actor in the part. But I think their viewership is really suffering, and I think part of it's when you get back around to our actual topic. Yep, fuck.
Sorry that we're doing the Walking Dead tangent, but I think it's telling. It's that people need... If you're watching a movie, it's 2 hours out of your life, and you can never watch it again if it's really that bad. If you're sticking with a show, if it's just misery all the time, if there's no light at the end of the tunnel, at some point in time, people are going to get tired of it because it's too much. And I think it's telling in the world that we're living in now that a lot of the things that have become successful at the box office, successful on TV, is we're seeing that swing into some fluffier stuff because we need it. The world is a
dark time right now.
It's a dark time. And we have this saturation of dark shows and movies because we went through this, the dark DC period. Well, DC's still in the period. That's where they live. But, like, I haven't been able to rewatch the new Avengers. It bums me out too much. And it's like, I know that half the characters are going to be fine because they have movies in the works. But it's still like, there's just so much shit now. Sometimes you just want... It's why I liked Spider-Man Homecoming so much. It was cute. It was sweet. It was heartfelt. And it was fluffy. For better or worse, it wasn't...
It wasn't The Dark Knight.
It wasn't The Dark Knight, because it's just sometimes you're like, fuck, man, this is too much. I want to watch a dumb movie, or I just want to watch something where I know it's going to be a happy ending, because my God, I don't know if our life is going to be a happy ending right now. I don't know if our country's going to have a happy ending. So, no, I don't want to watch The Handmaid's Tale. Anyway.
Wait for everything to be finished, and then we can watch it when it's done, and everything's happy.
When I know that our country's not going to become The Handmaid's Tale, I will feel okay watching it.
Now, what about movies that are just mean? Just horrible, mean, gross.
Not my cup of tea.
Wait, the 2000s Grinch? No, I'm kidding.
First of all, that is the Grinch that is in the Grinch porno, so I'll have you not do that. Hashtag Grinch chick.
Ew.
So, the movies I want to bring up, they're mean and hateful and just horrible, are the new flock of religious films that are coming out. Your God's Not Dead's, and of course, your Trump propaganda or conservative propaganda that are made by your Dinesh D'Souza's and then conservative porn. The most horrible, hateful movies ever. Or at least that I've encountered. I mean, shit. I mean, August Underground is a nicer watch than some of the God's Not Dead movies.
The reason I don't watch those is I'd get the same response that Kim got out of Mother. I just get so fucking angry.
No, I've never seen any of them because I know I will punch a wall.
Oh yeah. Well,
I can't.
Hillary's America was one of the first movies I almost left, and I didn't. I watched it with Carolyn 2 years ago in a theater. We didn't leave, and then Death of a Nation I was excited for because it's interesting to see how somebody can twist the world to where somehow Democrats are the real racists, and somehow if you're a progressive, you are a Nazi. Trump is practically Abraham Lincoln, and he is fighting against these evil forces that happen to have brown people in them that want to take down the world.
Even talking about this is pissing me off.
They're nasty. They're just mean. They're not made to persuade anybody. They're not made to say, this is my genuine side. They're made to rile up that angry, hateful, old white guy and see, because it's Dinesh D'Souza doing it, and he happens to be from India. See, that guy's a different color, and he hates the liberals too, so I'm not a racist. And it's just the same Democrats. It's the same shit. It's two evangelists' daughters, and this white guy funded them because they happen to be black, and they're only doing it to make money. Everybody knows it's a money thing because white people love black conservatives because it makes them not feel racist. Right. It's look at my black friend. He says that the liberals and the bad and the Democrats are a new plantation. By the way, black people, if you vote Democrat, you apparently are belonging to your new slave masters, who are the liberals. According to D'Souza, according to the left wing, the right wing media, those movies are just terrible. And then the God's Not Dead ones are not for religious films. If anybody who isn't a Christian is hateful and mean and horrible, like in the first God's Not Dead, the atheist is just this immoral douche who dumps somebody for having cancer. The Muslim beats his daughter when he finds out she became a Christian, and literally throws her from the house. The atheist professor is just this massive dick, and his whole life falls apart. He gets run over by a car, and at the end of this movie, the motherfucker gets run over, and there are two street preachers who pretty much forcibly convert him to Christianity. And then when he dies, he's not cold. He's dead. He's not even cold. Like, his body is still there. And they're like, this is a reason to celebrate. And then, the second one's not much better, where it's that victimization where, the Christians, they are the most persecuted.
Every time someone says that, I just laugh.
Because somebody says, literally the entire... Ray Wise isn't not dead too.
Ray Wise.
He's the evil ACLU lawyer who practically, literally in one scene, we're going to prove that God is dead. And he just, does this, horrible devil smile.
Wait, Ray Wise is the devil? No.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. I'm going to regret asking this question. There's an argument being made that God is dead? This is the premise of this movie?
Oh, no. They just want you to think that liberals and all other religions are trying to stop you from celebrating Christianity.
Doesn't God's Not Dead?
Liberals don't care.
Last Have Some Courage, since we're in Christmas time. That is a whole war on Christmas movie, where why don't we celebrate Christmas like we used to? It's like, get fucked. We celebrate Christmas. People say Merry Christmas.
I'm not a religious person. I say Merry Christmas. I enjoy the holiday.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'll say Merry Christmas. I'll say Happy Holidays. And if somebody's a dick to me, I will be like, I'm Jewish. What are you going to say about that? and then that will shut them the fuck
One
up.
of these days I need to watch Saving Christmas. I hear that's
Oh my
hysterical.
God.
But isn't that the one that like redoes like the pagan traditions and tries to rewrite them as Christian traditions?
So
But they're not.
Saving Christmas basically is the Dinesh D'Souza movies of those. Is they try to rewrite history or cherry pick it. So the Christmas tree, that's Christian now. My favorite thing is that he tries to equate presents under the tree to the skyline of a New Jerusalem. That's why you need to buy presents. Kirk Cameron's fucking crazy,
Oh,
and it's amazing.
a fucking Kirk Cameron
Yeah,
it's a
movie.
Kirk-
It's
Oh,
Kirk
fuck
Cameron
him.
Saving Christmas.
Fuck him. He's
It's
the
when
one
like
who
him on the
can't
cover
get
with
any
the
money.
giant candy cane, you know.
And again,
If I
it's
could punch him in the balls, I would.
that movie's not directly hateful; it's just insane. But like Fireproof was hateful. That was another Kirk Cameron movie.
But he's a hateful human being.
Oh God!
absolutely.
Like if anyone deserved to be punched in the balls, it would be him.
And then there was,
Just saying.
there's Old Fashioned and War Room, which are just basically women can just sit down and submit to their husbands, and they just need to do this and do that. And there's this dude who's like this fucking like serial killer light in the Old Fashioned one. He's supposed to be the Christian
Who
Grey.
won't go inside the.
Yes, he won't be inside alone with a woman because he made
Mike
a.
Pence?
Yeah,
I know, right? I'm like, and I'm thinking that through the whole movie, and I sit through this stuff. And I do it, I suppose, because it's interesting to see that somebody can warp their view of the world so much to the point where they believe, anything with Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, yeah. I can't watch Hercules now because of this.
Let There Be Light came out. That was Sean fucking Hannity is in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's the executive producer.
Ah.
And it's one of those atheist conversion flicks where he had a near-death experience, and now he's born again, and he's just this fucking tool the rest of the movie.
What's funny about this near-death experience is like the kid from which is the one where the kid had the near-death experience when he was a kid and then converted and Heaven is for real.
Heaven is for real.
Yeah, like that. The kid from that's like, yeah, I probably just like he's an adult now. I think I read somewhere he's like, yeah, I probably just had a weird brain thing, and I wish you wouldn't tell the story because I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're running with this. We're running with this.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, no, please. I was an idiot. My parents exploited me.
And that's just pretty much the name of the game is they'll take anything they can and try to twist it to their world.
They'll build a straw man and try and knock him over.
Exactly.
And that's why I can't watch those because that is.
And for some reason, that's why I enjoy them. Is just seeing like the interesting. I mean, the entire crux of that Democrats movie. I've seen part of it now online. Is they go to these liberal districts and they find people who are homeless, and they're like, "That's your fault, Nancy Pelosi." I'm like,
last I checked, it was Reagan who kicked everyone out of the. Who closed down all the damn things.
man, fuck Ronald Reagan. And he's like a
Reagan.
deity in those movies. Like he's like there's pictures of him in the background on some of these movies.
Because it's the Republicans who cut all the care support services. Yeah, anyway.
But that's kind of my corner of the movies that you watch to feel bad. I know I'm gonna feel bad. I know I'm gonna hate it. But I go see it, and that's my weird corner of the film. I got a collection. I own Old Fashioned, God's Not Dead, God's Not Dead 2, God's Not Dead 3, which is the least hateful of them. I don't own the Dinesh D'Souza movies, although I wouldn't be adverse to buying them from like half price books where he doesn't get the money.
Yeah, it's up there with. I mean, again, with like Johnny Depp or like the Jeepers Creepers dude or whatever. Like.
I bought the Jeepers Creepers disc, but I bought them used. So.
Yeah, I can't. I waited till it aired on Sci-Fi, and then I could barely make it through it because the latest one is
terrible.
So bad. But no, I don't support any of the money going to them.
I do my very best to. I think the only thing I bought directly from a distributor was Democrats. And that's because it's not available anywhere else, and then it always offset because I donated to 5 Senate candidates, 3 of which lost.
Oh,
Motherfuckers. 4 if Bill Nelson loses. Don't lose, you old fucker. I don't want to be 80% loss.
But in a similar way of going about things, slightly not completely on top, but still makes you feel nauseous or weird. I know Kim has something she wanted to talk about, but I'm going to bring in mine real fast. There's something about certain film stocks or weird makeups that make me feel weird. Like a lot of Italian horror. Like technically, like I'm watching it's great, but some certain makeups or like really bad film stock, I don't know about, it makes things look particularly nasty. And it's like this almost like have that this stomach churning reaction at some of the
zombie
makeup.
movies in general.
Yeah, particularly like something about this the coloring and it's exactly the way they look. Nothing really with a particular thing. Like we know it's cheesy. As soon as someone speaks, everything goes away. There's like no tension. There's nothing. Feel like if it ends like, yeah, it was fun, like beer around or what have you. But something about certain makeup shots and just the way it's filmed is like, ugh. Like I feel kind of the same way about a lot of like whatever film stock that Jodorowsky used for like Santa Sangra and Holy Mountain and El Topo. Is like it just feels like a dirty filming. It feels like there's like dirt on like in you when you watch it.
Yeah.
Like, even if the content is, of course, for Jodorowsky, like the content is there to match, but something is about like the way it's filmed is just like I don't feel well.
That's kind of how I felt with like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah,
that's just a
filmed
grimy,
like,
nasty
like
movie.
8mm or something.
Or like Maniac too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's just the way. Yeah, it's just the 70s, 80s way of filming things that was like for really cheap. Just kind of is dirty.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw has. It feels very gritty.
They look like they're legitimately being chased by a giant guy with a chainsaw in that movie.
Yeah.
That just looks real.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, some of it is. I know, like where she cuts her finger. That's real.
Toby Hooper was good at torturing his people on screen.
Yeah. He gets good reactions out of him, though. Bob and I were talking a little bit about this before we started. I really have a hard time with the TV show Extras.
I should go somewhere else though. I was wondering if your base comes up. This is a surprise.
No, it's the. I mean, again, being part of the entertainment industry. Like, I've been on sets where I'm like, yeah, that's what it's like, and it depresses me so much. I can watch an episode, and I find it really depressing. And it's a well-done show. It's funny, but it severely depresses me, and I have a really hard time watching it. And I have a really hard time watching that show.
In my notes, I wrote under, like, not quite a topic was cringe comedy.
Yeah.
Where I think Extras falls into, right? Mostly. I've only seen one episode, but it's all like people doing things not supposed to do, and you feel like nasty, bad for everyone around them. Like,
not quite the level that like the British Office had with those moments where you're just like, oh. But yes, but there was also just this. I mean, again, this kind of despair that. It was wrapped around so much of it that was just hard to watch and not pleasant to watch.
In a way that they'll never be famous that they want to be, or that they're just bad at what they're doing.
No, I mean,
I haven't really seen too much into it, so I'm just trying to remember exactly what was weird about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess again, it hits too close to home. It's another one where it's too good at what it's doing because you're like. Yep, I've been there, and man, it fucking sucks. And yeah, they're just that you're treading water, that you're never getting any further. That it's it's one of those things that is just like you identify too much with it in a way that's not pleasant.
I was saying in regards to like cringe comedy is that as much as I love The Office U.S. version, I like the UK one too. But every time we do a rewatch, Alice and I always skip Scott's Thoughts.
I always skip that too. I can't watch it.
It's too nasty.
It's too much.
It's just where the point where it goes past like, okay, he's a bad boss. He's kind of oblivious to this is painful.
Yeah, it's and there's a few movies I feel like I do that now that I've watched them enough times. I know the parts that I want to skip because the cringe gets too much. And I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna fast forward through this part because I don't want to have to watch it again. And so you just skip through any of the parts that become a little bit too much to watch. Yeah.
All right, then.
I don't really have much to add on that. I like cringe comedy.
Well, I love cringe comedy, but sometimes it gets to the point where it's like,
Sometimes it's too
Too
much.
cringy.
And I will say it's not.
'Cause
I like the American Office. The British Office I watched. I don't want to watch it again because it's again the cringe comedy's too much. It's too uncomfortable.
Yeah, but like in the case of like Scott's Tots versus like the rest of the show is that's in their little circle and occasionally a person from outside. That one is people's lives are ruined
Yeah.
because of something he did 10 years ago that's
Yeah.
completely on him. That's an outside force.
Okay, I don't know what you're referring to. What happens?
So it
I
turns
gotta
out
know
that
now.
Michael Scott, the main character of the officer, he told all these kids in like a more poverty area school of Scranton that they would be able to go to college on him if they all had straight A's.
If they all graduated.
If they all graduated,
Yeah.
So yeah, just basically graduating, he was going to pay for college, but he didn't plan accordingly, so he has no money. So Michael's continually broke. So now he has
No,
to
so
tell
that's like
this.
20-something kids.
Yeah.
Nobody unless you're Bill Gates or yeah.
So he tells all these kids that I can't afford your college. So they all did this work, and he fucked up. So they're not getting it. So it's just painful to watch. There's nothing funny about it.
No.
That does sound pretty fucked up. I'll say that. Like I typically try not to skip stuff. There are a few things that I will, but I sometimes I revel in that cringe too much sometimes.
Which kind of brings us back to like the films of like dark comedies that have cringy elements, like the Todd Solondz movies, like Happiness, Wiener Dog, Welcome to the Dollhouse, are all incredibly dark comedies of this kind of enjoying their nastiness, but they're kind of meant to get that, but also meant to like laugh at and with them in many ways.
So, kind of like John Waters too.
Yeah,
we're
like
gonna
John
go
Waters
see.
kind of slides in that.
Yeah, with like Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble. I mean, any movie where somebody eats fresh dog poop.
Yeah, like that's a scene I skip past every time I watch Big Flamingos, which is kind of rare anyway. But there's a nastiness, and also it's part of the film stock in many ways. But when you get to his later stuff, it's still kind of like aiming that, even like stuff like Dirty Shame or Cecil B. Demented. It's meant to elicit that reaction, but still make you laugh and have a good time, which is slightly different. But also some people don't go for dark comedy. Other things, I guess, in my notes here, we talked about directors who have that string of depravity, I guess. But actually, I was saying about like there's one actor I have in here who releases a bunch of these type movies is Ryan Gosling. As much as he's in like these big A-list movies, there's also like The Place Beyond the Pines, Blue Valentine, which is super in this end. Parts of Drive, which also reads into other parts of Nicholas Refn, like Neon Demon, Only God Forgets. It also has.
Was he
Ryan
in
Gosling.
Nightcrawler?
No, that was Jake.
That was
Gyllenhaal.
Jake.
I
And that's
love
an amazing
Nightcrawler.
movie. That's
I
like my
loved
favorite
it.
movie of that year.
I love Nightcrawler. I didn't like Drive. I felt like I was another person who didn't like it.
I think you were too.
But
but Nightcrawler is tragically underseen, and that's also
that's fantastic.
yeah.
Man.
That also gets in there where there's no real total enjoyment, but there is reveling in his nastiness. But we brought up like The Road earlier, and I was like, it's McCarthy generally. He did.
Yeah.
A lot of his work hasn't been adapted for film, and some of it has, but like
because his work is hard to adapt.
Yeah, James Franco tried a couple times with Child of God and something else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
What about those nuclear destruction films?
Like Day After and
Day After, Threads, On the Beach, where like Threads is probably the worst of those, where it's like a docudrama type deal where you see really what happens after a nuclear war, where there's nothing and people starve and people die and people burn to death and people get radiation sickness and they die and people die in the blast and then they die and then they die again and then they die a third time and then people die and then they
People die.
people die the day after Threads,
and then they just keep dying, and then it's just misery for everyone. Like the end of Threads, spoilers for an 80s docudrama from the UK, is literally this character who was born post-war and has no attachment to anything because there's really no time for that anymore. They've got to keep moving. They've got to keep the farming going. They've got to keep trying to survive. And she gets pregnant, and then she gives birth, and it's just it's a stillbirth, and then you don't even see her reaction. You just see her horrified face when she gives birth in this horrible makeshift hospital in a destroyed building, and they're not even speaking full English anymore. It's like this broken dialect, and there's crime and lawlessness, and it just looks so dirty and grimy. And you get to see it kind of, and you get to see the immediate aftermath too. It's like, you see the, rescue workers catching on fire and dying, or the whole council that they've, gathered to try to save the area suffocate, and just nothing good happens in it. It's hit after hit after hit after hit. On the beach is kind of a similar thing. That's one where, well, we wipe each other out, and the only place alive is Australia, but the radiation's creeping in. They are going to die. They know they're going to die. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no hope. The only hope they have is dash pretty quickly. They know they're going to die. They know. So it's either cyanide pill, or do you wait for the radiation, or do you try to go underground? And it's fucked up.
You live and make it Fallout, dude.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either of those, but I have seen The Day After.
That's a dark ass movie
Yeah.
too.
I get that played on TV in like '83 or whatever it was. Jason Roberts and the cast of thousands that they would always put on TV movies back then. That's an incredibly disturbing movie that just kind of gets under your skin and then peels it off because you're irradiated.
It's true. I mean, and then they were like, there's a hospital scene in Threads where you see medicine's gone. It's just it's this medieval shit where they're like cutting people's limbs off with no anesthetic and basic medical care. People are dying because they can't get their medicines. People are dying because the doctors just don't have the stuff, and there's blood everywhere, and it's just horrible, dark, bleak movie. Like, I watched it and I just sat there because because in the end it's not going to be Fallout. If we ever did start nuking each other, it would be everybody's dead.
Yeah.
You would be lucky even if threats happened. Because the odds are the radiation will kill everybody, kill everything. And this has been Cody's further just rant about just misery and death.
Which is this whole episode's about misery, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else much more on my list besides just throwing out Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which kind of goes in that you do a bad thing and just all the misery heaps upon you.
Never seen it, but now I gotta look it up because I like the
Hounds of Love, a serial killer movie from last year, based upon Australian serial killers who kidnap a girl and they bring people in and then they kind of indoctrinate them into life and then they kill them. This one goes a little bit wrong, which actually made me think of something I didn't have on my list. But Prisoners from with Hugh Jackman
from a couple years ago.
From Denis Villeneuve, I can't remember who made Arrival in Blade Runner 2049. Currently working on Dune, which actually we'll look forward to his Dune. I think he'd actually do a good job. But that movie also just starts out bad with the kidnappings and this gets worse and worse. But it's done such a beautiful way that you're brought along and you really feel for Jackman because he does a powerhouse role as he often does. And as he makes his decisions and makes his choices, you're like, no, don't do that. My only issue with that movie is I didn't like the ending. Possible spoilers for a second, but it's ultimately wrapped up, and I thought it would have been much better without the epilogue and having things go with a big question mark. But everything does get wrapped up in a tidy little bow, and it's great to say. Like, I didn't want this to end happy, and it did.
kind of like The Vanishing.
Yeah, in a way.
The U.S. version.
The U.S. version gave you a happy ending, and the Danish version didn't.
The horrible, just gut punch ending there.
Like the end of Buried, which is a different type movie, but
yeah, Ryan Reynolds in Vanishing.
Essentially,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
That's everything I had on my list. So we talked about Lars von Trier, so I wanted to mention when watching Dancer in the Dark was one of the most interesting times I've had watching a movie because I watched it by myself at my house, and I'm watching it and I'm like incredibly into it, but not completely into that dark hole of despair that I was expected to be in. And then the DVD skipped so much that I had to return it to Netflix, and they sent me another one. So a week later, I picked it up from where I thought, continued, got back into it, even with that break, and then at the end, when the execution happens, and like it happened, and Bjork's character is executed, and like immediately just like waterfalls of tears, just like out of nowhere. Like I'm watching, like okay, and just like something about that moment, and the way it was shot was just it was shot very matter of fact. Like it's in the back, still shot. Doesn't like zoom in or anything. It's moving around, just like just it happens, and just like it affected me in such a way that I just stopped crying for like an hour.
Like
but it's like out of nowhere, I'm just like okay.
The Green Mile. That was pretty much that one movie for me.
Yeah.
That sounds very much like my reaction to The Green Mile.
Yeah, that I don't know. It's visually dusty every time I watch that.
Cutting onions.
Yeah, that's my favorite Stephen King adaptation is The Green Mile, hands down. Yeah. Any other movies that or TV shows you guys wanted to bring up that we haven't discussed?
When I was still in undergrad, doing classes at the School of Film and Television, and we had an acting instructor who made us watch the Sophie's Choice scene like a dozen times, just right after, like we just sat there watching that scene on repeat. And
I haven't seen it, so I don't know the reference.
The scene where it's a spoiler alert. It's a spoiler alert for a movie that's like 40 years old.
Yeah.
The scene where Sophie has to choose which of her children is going to.
Oh yeah, yes, that one.
Yeah.
It's the adoption mix-up movie, right?
What does?
It's the adoption mix-up movie or different?
No,
That's
it's the concentration camp when they say you can take one of your kids and the other one's going to the gas chamber. And so they tell her to pick a kid, which one's going to live. And she chooses between her children, and then they both die. But
Fuck.
But like the scene where she has to make the choice, it's fucked, man. And this acting teacher made us rewatch that scene on repeat about a dozen times.
Wait, was the end of the scene that they make them pick and then both of them get killed?
No,
anyway?
He dies later.
Okay.
But in this specific scene, you see her being like, I can't choose between my children. I can't do it. Make me choose. He's like, if you don't, they're both going to go die. And finally, she does. And so they rip the other child from her, and the child's screaming like, Mama, Mama. And so that's not a movie that's fun to watch in general. And actually, in retrospect, isn't really that great of a movie. Like, her performance is spectacular. It's Meryl Streep, and Meryl Streep's performance is absolutely spectacular. The movie itself is not withstood the test of time. I don't think the movie itself, personally, is particularly good. But having to rewatch that scene, I don't think I can ever watch that movie again.
Gonna take all the air out of it for you.
Yeah. It's just, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm tapping out. Can't do it.
All of Kim's enjoyment of the concentration camp film is gone.
It's like, I'll just watch Cave of the Fireflies. I haven't seen that, so it wasn't on my list, but I know it's there.
It's pretty dark.
It's there. Life is beautiful.
Yes.
No, it's not. I had problems with that movie. Anyway.
Yeah, the Holocaust is something you can just like the first episode of Extras calls it out. It's like, let's do a Holocaust movie. I'll get an Oscar, which later she did for a Holocaust movie.
Yep.
Not playing a nun, but playing a guard. So go a different way. Because Kate Winslet, I'm talking about here, got an Oscar or nomination for The Reader.
The Reader, yeah.
Which I found to be like, falsely melodramatic as well. But
it had the right buzzwords.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's
Holocaust. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But yet nobody saw the book.
Gain or lose a bunch of weight. Done. Change your appearance. Cool. Those are all.
Don't wear makeup for the day.
Yeah.
But yes. Any other things that destroy you that you want to talk about?
I Spit on Your Grave isn't one that I'm just like, yay, I want to rewatch that.
Especially the original one where they do like the deaths out of sequence.
Yeah. But no, it's another one that's like you watch and you're like, this is a thing?
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do this thing again.
Yeah. You watch it and say, I watched this and I experienced it. And I don't need to experience that ever again.
And I think as fans of film, or this is looking specifically to horror film, but I think as fans of film, there's stuff you feel like you should watch to experience, and then it becomes a check in the box.
Yeah,
I did it. Don't want to do that again. Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, we So we've talked about some horrific things, and Christmas is coming up, so we have positive things to look forward to. It's almost the
Krampus.
yes, we can talk about Krampus.
I mean, I figure we'll probably do a Christmas episode this year before it gets played out.
Can we do like a viewing party of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Garbage Day. That will never stop being funny to me.
I still need to actually see the movie around. I've seen Silent Night 1, and I haven't seen 2 or the sequels with Bill Moseley and everything. But
Part 2 is a work of genius.
Mm-hmm.
and Shout Factory's putting out an edition of it sometime very soon.
Wow, really?
Yeah, last year they put out Silent Night Deadly Night. This year they're putting out Silent Night Deadly Night.
I know
2.
it's on my Christmas list.
And hopefully they'll put out 4 and 5 at some point, or 3, 4, and 5.
They
Just
don't
to
have
complete it.
I watched all of them last year for the horror honeys, and 2 was the standout for me.
But yeah, you should look forward to that. Hopefully we'll have a viewing party and we'll watch that, maybe live tweet it. We'll have another episode here in a couple weeks, maybe something non-horror this time. We focused a lot on horror in the last couple weeks. It was on Halloween. We are horror people, as much as we talk about Crypticon and Nasty Movies Now and the Halloween series. But we'll be looking to look at other geeky things that aren't specifically about people dying. Maybe we'll do something positive next time or for the next couple times. So if there's something you want us to hear talk about, send us a message. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter. Subscribe to the feeds, all of them. We have 1 subscriber on YouTube right now, so can you be number 2?
Wait, no, we have 2.
We have 2. No,
both of us.
I didn't count. I don't know. It only says 1. So Jack's currently Cody is a subscriber to us.
I should do that.
So yes, go to our YouTube.
Watch our
find
upside
that.
down videos.
Yes. And yeah, next
Shoved
time
in a car.
we'll get it right next. We're currently trying to figure out the how to get it facing the right direction. But yes, thank you for listening to our blabbering on about this, and hopefully you're still there. We are City of Geek. I'm Bob.
I'm Kim.
I'm Cody.
And we'll see you next time.